Welcome, everyone, to Sounders Hangout on Google Hangout. I'm Tony Ventrella. We have a cast of very talented characters today. Some of them are actually on the screen with us right now. Matt Gash, to your left. Give it a little wave, Matt.
Hey.
Thank you. That was well done. Matt Johnson. Matt Johnson, following and waving. Matt Johnson, of course, the host, radio pre- and post-game host for Sounders FC. Ross Fletcher, our play-by-play man on radio and television. Ross, welcome.
Tony, checking in for service.
Very nice. Taylor Graham, retired Sounders player. Retired Sounders player Taylor Graham, who was the manager of business operations for Sounders FC. Taylor Graham.
Ross, you stole my salute, so I'm just going to point at you.
I'm sorry, Taylor. Come on, we should get more coordinated.
Okay, we'll do it.
Well done. Hey, I want to start with something. Let's go down the list. We'll start with Matt, Ross, and Taylor, and let's analyze these first two matches real quickly. Good start, 6 points right off the bat in MLS play. David Estrada, the big early star. Matt Gash, tell me what you're thinking as you look at these first two matches right now, and then we'll go right down to Matt Johnson and Ross and Taylor.
Well, what I like most, I think, about these first two games is they've won them in such drastically different ways. The first game, really, Seattle seemed to control from the opening kick, and you like what they did, responding from that 6-1 loss down in Mexico to get a big, resounding victory on opening night at CenturyLink Field. And then the Houston game, really, Houston controlled so much of that game, and Seattle just kind of ground out a couple of good goals, and you get the one off the corner kick and then another off the penalty, and you've seen so many teams around the league be successful grinding out games like that, and to see Seattle do that so well this early in the season, I think is a good sign.
Matt Johnson.
I agree with everything Matt said. Along with that,
Smart, I think.
Your time was up, Matt. Your time was up.
Mute him.
But not only that, but Freddie Montero hasn't scored yet. So your leading scorer, possibly for the year, hasn't scored, and you've gotten 2 wins. You've got Estrada, you've got Evans scoring, and as Matt says, 2 different wins, 2 different styles of play. Here comes San Jose, another home game, so much different than last year when it was the 5th game before the first win. 2 wins and San Jose coming to town, so it's a great start to the season.
Ross Fletcher, the newcomer in the group, although we see Taylor on the camera right there. Ross, you go next, and then we'll go to Taylor.
Yeah, I think I should cough whenever I see Taylor, really, shouldn't I, to get back on camera. No, what I really like about this season is coming in fresh, seeing David Estrada, Taylor, don't you dare, is that I'm seeing a guy who just looks like he's been part of the squad since day one, and yet he'd only played 196 minutes of soccer for the team in MLS before this season. He's just fitted right in. What a huge bonus that Eddie Johnson expected to come in at the start of the season, but unhealthy because of injury. It's been a massive bonus for the Sounders. But what I also really like is that, like Matt says, we've won in a couple of different ways, but what I really like about that is different personnel. You get injuries to Adam Johansson and Mauro Rosales, who've really started to strike up that partnership. But in Zach Scott and also Roger Levesque, and they have a great combination, offer something different. But again, the Sounders squad, the depth there gives them another way to win. It doesn't matter if they're injured, you know you've got other guys who step up to the plate.
Taylor, you're up finally. We've seen you several times. Now we'll hear from you.
Perfect. Again, Ross, thanks for stealing. I think you can read my notepad because you just keep taking my notes. What I was looking at most for the first couple of games was the way the new personalities were going to shape into the team. Obviously, a big part of the core is returning for the team, but there's a lot of new faces. You mentioned Adam Johansson. We saw Mark Birch and what he can contribute coming forward from left back, but we all miss this guy right here. But Michael Gershberning stepped up, hasn't had to make too many saves so far, but it's great to see him get his first shutout so early in the season.
That launches us into our next topic. Let's start back with Matt Gash again on his first clean sheet in the last match. Was thrilled to do it, and it seems happy to be here, and he's fitting in well. We see Matt Johnson on the big screen. We'll start with Matt Johnson, then go to Gash. Let's do it that way.
I think he's done everything he's needed to do. He had a tough game down in Mexico, but it wasn't all at his hands. He comes back home. He plays well. He has a nice ball tipped over the bar. He is vocal back there. You can't compare him to Casey. He's a totally different guy. 6'5", but he gets down low. I think he's done everything he needed to do.
Matt Gash, you're up.
Yeah, I agree. He's done everything he's needed at this point. Everything you could ask from him, he's been able to do, and to see him have the shutout, obviously a big thing in just his second game, and the way he played in that game, you can't help but know there's going to be a lot more to come.
Ross?
Yeah, I think in terms of Michael Sperning, what he brings is something that Casey Keller obviously left behind, which was leadership. Now, Casey is the club captain, obviously brought tremendous amount of experience with him. Michael Sperning brings European experience, brings big game experience, having played in World Cup qualifiers, but also he is a talker. He's a very confident guy, and you need your goalkeeper to lead from the back and be that kind of guy. He can communicate very well, very strongly with his team. He's a big physical, imposing presence as well, and that's what's really impressed me. You see him on the training field as well. He's there. He's one of those leaders and has helped build that void, not only in terms of goalkeeping skill, but in being that character on the field as well for the town.
Taylor.
And I'll just kind of add to that, just having been around him so much in the preseason, he really fit in with this group from day one off the field as well, which has really been a big key, I think, to the success so early with so many new additions to the team.
Thanks, Matt, for again just stealing that. Yeah, we knew whoever the Sounders were going to find to step in and replace Casey was going to be a great soccer player. From Michael's pedigree that he's played at a high level, and he's played at a high level for a long period of time. What I'm most excited to see is the way that he's incorporated himself into the locker room. It's a very eclectic group of guys. He only contributes to that. And the thing that I've heard from everyone in the locker room is that he's a great leader. He's a great goalkeeper, but he's a great person too. And that's someone that we just love to welcome open arms in the Sounders organization.
All right, let's go to a sort of a free-for-all format now on Sounders Hangout here on Google Hangout. We're going to start with whoever wants to start. Pick a topic you want to pick. I do one thing I want to cover, though, before we go, is not only the friendly coming up in June. I definitely want to talk about Chelsea, but also mostly positive in that area. Since we see Matt Johnson, Matt, you go ahead. Pick the topic and just wing it from here for a while.
After watching San Jose, I'm thinking about the record and upcoming games. After watching San Jose's last couple games, I think the Sounders have a great chance of going 3-0 this weekend at home at CenturyLink. I don't think the Sounders play as loose a defense as Toronto. You head then to D.C. I'm already thinking a couple games down the road. So the positives, like last year, we started with New York and L.A. We didn't get the win until the fifth game. And when I first spoke, getting 3-0 and 4-0, it's just a dream start, and it could take us to new heights as a club this year.
I think because Taylor's had his win taken from beneath his serve, it's only fair that next up we allow Matt Gash to speak. So, Matt, over to you.
Oh, brother. Well, yeah, just looking ahead to San Jose, I mean, I watched quite a bit of the last maybe 25, 30 minutes of their game against Toronto, and Wondolowski's a guy that if you're able to keep him quiet, it seems like you're able to keep San Jose quiet in a lot of ways, and they don't seem to go so well when he's not scoring goals for them, and shutting him down is obviously key proponent to that game, and from there, just kind of as Matt said, looking forward, you can't help but be optimistic about where this team is right now, and then with the next 3-4 games on the schedule that, we hate to get too far ahead of ourselves, but 18 points from 6 games is within reach.
Yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves. This is the one thing that the coaches always talk to players. You don't want to look past any opponent, especially in the MLS. I think it's a great time for Seattle to be playing San Jose, especially with the similarities between the team of Houston. You spend the whole week preparing for set pieces, and a team that's had the same system of play for an extended period of time. And the similarities between Frank Gallup's teams and Dom Kinnear's teams. So it's a natural transition to go from Houston to San Jose. Matt, like you said, you got to keep your eye on Chris Wondol out. You're going to have a good shot to win the game.
Well, let me ask you, Taylor, how do you do that? Obviously, Toronto didn't do it. How do you do that? Because they do have other weapons. They cross the ball. Lenhart's a big bull in the middle. How do you keep your eye on Wondolowski while the ball is bouncing everywhere?
You can't. But Wondo is a good goal scorer, and he's been the leading goal scorer in the league the last 2 years because he just has that ability to find the net. You can't focus on one player, especially in this league. Like you mentioned, Steve Lenhart, he's a big body. He's going to be the one who's going to be instigating and getting defenders frustrated with you, and then that's kind of paves the way for Wondo to come in and score some goals. you know, the thing about our team is you don't just have a back four on an Aussie defending. The defending really starts up right up top defensively is tireless, and that kind of just sets the whole tone throughout the team. And as soon as we lose the ball, we're going to look to get it back. But playing at home, we're going to look to attack more than defend for sure.
And I think you've noticed, particularly from that Houston game, a lot of the talk pre-game was about Brad Davis, what Brad Davis can bring to this game. But you saw how Zach Scott, Roger Levesque, and the rest of the defensive unit closed him down. Total confidence that the Sounders can do exactly the same there. But like you say, Taylor, this is more about the Sounders being on the front foot and getting that third straight win at home, equaling the best ever franchise start, definitely within the grasp. And the other thing about this is 3 straight home games. If you can get 3 ones on the board, what a message that sends out to the rest of this league. 7 of the first 10 at home. This is a great platform that Ziggy and the guys have already set. Okay, watch out for Wondolowski, but you've got to be thinking the weapons that the Sounders have to exploit that, the goal-scoring feats that the likes of our top scorer. Remember, David Estrada's got a goal more than Wondolowski so far this season. It should all be about the Sounders. If you worry too much about the opposition, take your eye off the ball yourself, but I don't think that will happen here.
Let me bring up a quick point here as we get a couple of guys coming back off injuries. The early season, first of all, since the screen.
I'm sorry.
There's Taylor. Now, are you guys controlling that? Do you have like a little big screen button in front of you or what?
Taylor
Okay,
is.
I'm seeing that. But it seems to me there is an optimistic view here with guys like Morrow and Eddie Johnson and Steve Zakawani in the next few weeks or maybe months. And the fact that the first 3 matches are spaced by a week has sort of helped these guys get some recovery time. Am I close on that one?
Matt or Taylor? Who do you want to go first,
Well, whoever
Taylor?
wants to answer it. You guys jump right
I don't
in.
know, Taylor, you can speak to the long season. I mean, the season's so long, I don't know if there's one player that stays healthy for the whole season. So these guys are just sitting back and will be healthy in a couple of weeks, and as it goes on. And Taylor, you speak to this. I mean, the season's so long that you have to have a rotation in depth like the Sounders do.
You know, the Sounders have always prided themselves on being a deep team. That's one of the reasons why they've had such success in the Open Cup. But you are exactly right. Mauro Zales, if he's out for 3 weeks, we're going to miss him for a maximum of 3 games. If those 3 weeks were transplanted in the month of May or maybe in July or August, you're potentially missing 5 or 6 games. And so you want to maximize the recovery time between these games, and it puts a little bit less pressure on these guys coming back from injury. The difference between sitting out 1 game is the difference of 12 days of improvement health-wise as opposed to maybe 5 or 6 days.
And I think the nice thing as well, early in this season, yes, we've had those home games, as you say, the week space. Then we have Colorado, Chicago away on the 14th of April, then 2 weeks off. And that gives guys a really good chance to get healthy, but also get in the run of games. Those that have started the season can really get into a run of 4, have that 2-week break. That's going to be great for them. They'll be fresh and they can get going again. And as you mentioned about Steve Zakawani, whenever the time is right for Steve Zakawani to come back, that will be like having a brand new signing because he's been away for a year. Just think of the potential. And if Steve Zakawani is playing even at 95% of what we know he's capable of, that'll be a tremendous signing for the Sounders. Just so Ziggy can sprinkle in, as you say, keep the squad fresh, keep it rolling for the rest of the season.
You know, Ross, before we go any further, is that a Sounders couch? Did you buy that at the pro shop, or is that just a blanket?
Yeah, I have to say, I spent at least £10,000-15,000 on a bespoke one, so I've already maxed out my credit since coming to the US just on this couch. But the good thing is, it flips up and then turns into a normal couch.
That's really nice. That's beautifully done there. And Taylor, you've got nothing behind you on the walls there. So is that a question of? And now it's upside down. Is that a question of decorating as you get going here, or what? Because there we go.
Tony, baby steps. Baby steps.
No, you're right. I know.
I've got a very versatile couch. It doubles as a scarf as well. Go Sounders.
Let's talk a little about the friendly coming up in June. We'll start with Matt Gash. Chelsea coming to town. The friendlies have been so successful in getting the fans out there and introducing them to international football, soccer, if you will. And this is no excuse. This is no exception coming up in June.
Absolutely, and I think the good thing maybe about Chelsea is this is a team we saw here in 2009, but in a lot of ways it's a much different team. They've gone through a couple of managers at this point. Who the manager is going to be when they come in July, who's going to know that? It could be anyone at this point, but it's going to be a lot of fun to see the likes of Frank Lampard, John Terry back out. I know a lot of the guys are excited about it. Freddie Montero, I spoke with him today, Brad Evans as well, and Freddie's a guy who got a chance to play with against them the first time around, and he's looking forward to see kind of maybe how his game has progressed, and see how he can play against those guys the next time around. And then to talk to a guy like Andy Rose, who grew up watching Chelsea play and is a big Manchester United fan, and really kind of is chomping at the bit at a chance to get a sneak one past Chelsea. You can't help but be excited for the guys that have those opportunities.
Matt Johnson, I have a question for you. Adam Johansson from, I think, Göteborg, Sweden. Would he be the great-grandson of the former heavyweight champion of the world, Ingemar Johansson? Is there a connection there?
They're cousins.
Are they?
Yes, they're cousins.
That's good. Nice answer.
Stick me with the tough boxing question. Thank you.
No idea if there's any. I'm sure it's a very common name in Sweden.
Yeah.
Is there any relationship to Scarlett Johansson?
There could be. Now
there's a lot of fingers crossed for that one.
That makes a lot of sense. It really does. All right, let's go one time around the horn with a closing comment from each of you now. This has been fun. It's our Sounders Hangout on Google Hangout. We'll start with Matt. We'll start with Ross, since we kind of went we'll go Ross, Taylor, Matt.
Well, closing comment from me is bring on San Jose. The games can't really come quickly enough, I think, for the Sounders right now, because it might be 2 games into the MLS season, but of course we've got the momentum built up from the home game against Santos Laguna as well. This is Fortress CenturyLink Field, and I think a victory over San Jose will send out the strongest possible message to the rest of the league. Okay, the West is beating up the East so far, but RSL have already stumbled, LA have stumbled a little bit, and I think a 3rd straight victory would just put everybody on alert that the Sounders mean serious business this season.
Let's go to Taylor.
Yeah, I just want to send an overwhelming thank you from the new 10, 11 faces on the team. It's actually unbelievable how pleased they are with the organization and the fans and the game day experience. Obviously, you see games on TV, and you set high expectations for it, but from talking to Christian Sievenbeck and Mark Birch and guys that have played in pretty amazing places, it still gives them the goosebumps every time they step out in the field. So fans, thank you for what you're doing. Everyone, just keep it up. This should be exciting this Saturday.
Matt.
Go ahead, Matt.
I'll reiterate what I was saying earlier. I just think the start is unbelievable. The new PR director, Jeff Garza, is just doing such a great job. He's an inspiration for all of us in the front office. Most of us, that's right. Again, Wondolowski comes to town. I love watching other talent this Saturday at CenturyLink, 7 o'clock. And if the team gets a good result, it's on to DC United. I just love the start. I'm excited. 38,000. I get goosebumps still every home match. We've had 3 now coming up, and I just want the team just to take off and have this be the springboard to the season right here.
I guess that
Matt
means
Gask, yeah. You don't have to talk, Matt.
No. I was going to say I had a chance to go out to the reserve game up in Vancouver on Monday, and I know we've been talking a lot here in the last couple of weeks about the emergence of David Estrada, and the Sounders kind of finding a diamond in the rough there, and I just kind of want to draw the attention to another guy who kind of fits that same mold, the guy that they took in the 3rd round of the draft in 2011, Alex Kasky. He had a phenomenal game up in Vancouver, and really he's a guy that Sounders fans should keep an eye on. If not this year, then definitely in the years to come.
To that point, Matt, don't you love the patience that the coaching staff has? Lamar Nagel, who was here, he went to Charleston. Kasky, people don't remember that the team drafted him. They are into developing talent. Here's Estrada, the patience that the coaching staff has with these players.
Absolutely, and if you're a young player coming into the team, you have to be able to look at those players and say, you know what, it may not come from me right away like it did for Steve Zakuani, but if I'm patient, I know the coaching staff is going to be patient with me and give me the opportunities if I keep working hard and earn those opportunities along the way.
A great job by everyone today. I want to thank everyone. Matt Gass, SoundersFC.com, Matt Johnson, radio pre- and post-game host, Russ Fletcher, play-by-play man for radio and television, and our retired Sounders player who I'm sure some days wishes he was still out there, a manager of business operations, Taylor Graham.
And he's on the radio broadcast, Tony. That guy right there is on the radio broadcast.
That's right. Yeah, does a great job. I think next time we do this, I'd like to have Matt Johnson's face with mouthing words while Ross Fletcher talks. I think it would be cool to see that.
Talk to Brian Pan, your producer behind you.
Good point. We'll try that next time. Thanks for joining us. Sounders Hangout on Google Hangout. We'll see you all next time around.